talk about the podcast. You guys, you originally it was an internal podcast only for the company. What made you start? Why deciding on a podcast as opposed to video training or PDF communications or however you want to contact people?
So the podcast going public really actually was just sort of to make it easier for people to access it.
Okay.
When we attempted to have it just internal, it limited the way that people could find it and download it. So we had it uploaded onto an intranet site that our office staff goes to regularly, but drivers aren't necessarily logged onto that. They do have access to it, but they're not always logged into it. And it also just became cumbersome to try and find the episode every time and then remember to do it, because that intranet site is not set up to be a media hub. It's not designed for that. The functionality was very limited. And then at that point, really the only way to make it easily accessible to our internal team is to put it onto a podcast app. And so we thought, okay, well, if we're doing that, then let's go big or go home is the saying. And so that's sort of what we did. We thought, you know what, we're a leader in the industry. Let's put our knowledge and our expertise out there and use that to not only educate people about the industry, as you're saying, but perhaps even use it as a recruiting tool as well to show that, hey, we're North America's safest fleet. We know what we're doing. We know what we're talking about. And here's proof.
Now, do you now have to worry about what you're saying on the podcast? You don't want to be giving away any insider secrets, shall we say, to other companies who may be listening, because it's public to everybody, right?
That's why episodes 1 to 12, I believe, are still only available internally. But it really was never meant to be insider information. It was meant to be something that's entertaining and informative to drivers. Right. And so we did have 1 or 2 segments where some financial information was discussed, but we've had to make that conscious effort to now sort of shift the content a little bit, not too much.
Right. So now I love some of the features you have. I really like the way you have the ride along with the drivers. I think that's really interesting. And but there's the one where you call up office staff. I've got to say that's got to be my favorite. What's that one called? Tell us about that one.
Getting to know you.
Yes.
So those 2 segments. One of the first one that Bruce mentioned is called Riding Shotgun, and we talk with one of our. Often it's a 1 million miler or somebody who's been with Bison for quite some time. Right. And we just get stories from the road, like, where do you currently drive? What do you like to eat while on the road? Do you have any hobbies when you're not driving? Yeah. And it's fascinating to hear how many drivers got into the industry because they wanted to travel and they wanted to see the sights. And that's not something that I would have thought. As I mentioned, I had no experience in trucking or in transportation before coming to Bison. This is not a profession I would have thought, oh, hey, if I want to travel and get paid to do it, trucking is something to entertain.
Yeah.